You know, usually during these Take 'em to School videos, I spend my time educating you, the common man. I do so by sharing my vast knowledge and varied opinions with you, the ignorant masses. Well, today I want to do something totally opposite. Today I want you all to educate me and thereby each other also. I want to present something that was written to me in an email to you, the viewer, and see what you think of it. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to stay totally neutral during this. I'm not going to give you one side or the other as far as my opinion is concerned. I'm just going to present the idea, maybe one positive argument and one negative argument, and see what you think. I got an email from a viewer. This was in response to us talking about how some people choose not to carry around in their chamber in a semi-automatic because they don't want to risk a negligent discharge. Well, one of the big issues with not carrying around in the chamber is you have to rack that slide to get a live round in the chamber if you ever have to use your gun, and you may not be able to rack your slide depending on the circumstances you find yourself in. Well, I have a viewer that sent me an email saying, well, they took care of that problem by carrying a blank in their magazine. The first round is a blank. Now, they said their reasoning for this is, well, you usually miss with your first shot anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's a live round. Now, that I will give an opinion on. I don't know if I actually agree with that or not, that people miss with their first shot more often than not, because when I'm researching self-defense cases, I see time and time again, in fact, more often than not, one shot fired, one fatality, one shot fired, one serious injury, one shot fired, one fatality. See that, blah, 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 again and again. So I don't know if I believe that whole, you always miss with your first shot myth, or you most commonly miss with your first shot. But I'm getting off track here. Let's get back to the topic. They said since you usually miss with your first shot anyway, and it's just the act of being fired at that makes a bad guy run away, they're still going to think they got fired at. They're not going to know that was a blank, so they're still going to run away. So that's one argument for it that they presented. They also said that way you don't have to rack your slide because that blank will rack your slide and therefore put a live round in the chamber. So they said that's why they do it. Now, I want to know what you all think of this idea. Now, there are positives and negatives to this, like I said, that I can present. Now, keep in mind, I'm not taking a side. Now, to me, the negative of putting a blank in the chamber is if you ever had to make that first round count, like in one of those one shot fired, one fatality, one shot fired, one serious injury, you would be able to. It wouldn't work. Now, a lot of people think, well, blanks are still very deadly at a certain range. Not really. You got to be right up on the barrel. Because it's not so much the little wad of cotton in the bullet that actually does any damage, or in the cartridge that actually does any damage. It's the gas and energy that comes out the end of the muzzle. I have seen this in person when I have told this story in chats before, where one sergeant turned to another sergeant with a handgun loaded with a blank at very close range and fired directly into his chest, which resulted in a fist fight and a severely bruised chest. But like I say, if you ever had to make that first round count, you might be in a situation where it doesn't. Like if someone's coming at you with a knife, you fire that blank into them, you might still get stabbed in the face. So there's a negative aspect to it. But how often is that likely to happen? What are the odds of that compared to having a negligent discharge? That's the math you would have to do to decide. Now, the pro to it, like I said, is you don't have to rack that slide. You still have the safety of not having a live round in the chamber, although it is not as safe as not having a round in the chamber, because if you ever accidentally fired that gun with like your hand right in front of the barrel or the barrel up to someone's face, which I don't know why you do that, you could still cause a fatality or a serious injury. But you don't have to rack that slide in a dangerous situation. You just double tap, second round is live. So that's a big advantage right there. And plus, like we all said, a lot of times just hearing bang and seeing a gun is enough to make a bad guy reconsider their life choices and run away. So there's the topic. Carrying a blank as the first round in your magazine of your everyday carry so that you are both safe from negligent discharges, or at least far safer from negligent discharges. And I'm saying that word more than I should because I always screw it up. But the negative is you don't have a first round that actually will do something. And also, it might make you a little complacent with your gun, some people might say too. But there's the topic. There's a couple of things pro and con for it. Let me hear what you think. Is this a revolutionary idea, or is this the dumbest thing you ever heard?
Oops.
Right,
It's a lady at 46 South Road. 46 South Road.
Station 1 call, retone that please. 10-4. Captain 4 will be going to that location also. This is 1-9, is that correct?